Hi everybody, Diana here at Heartfelt Creative. Today is Monday, happy Monday. So if it's Monday, it must be Patches and Pieces Monday time. This video is also typically always a live demonstration over on my Facebook page, Heartfelt Creative with Diana. That's Heartfelt Creative, a W for with, a backslash, and Diana. All that information will be here on the post. So if you ever want to join live with us while I do these demos, join us on a Monday. It's a lot of fun. We have a good group of folks. You can ask questions, that kind of thing. So Patches and Pieces Monday is typically a little bit of time, roughly an hour, sometimes a little less, sometimes a few minutes over, but I try not to make it that long, where I go over a different quilt block with you, how it's constructed, maybe some tips and tricks on how to do it, give you some examples, that sort of thing. Sometimes even talk about like, how would I quilt that block, or how would I put that block into a project as a quilt, or how do I size it up? How do I make it smaller? So we just discuss all those things. It's not a project class so much, or demonstration, as it is a demonstration of a process, I guess you could say. Okay, so if you're new to patchwork quilting, these are great because you learn a lot of new blocks. If you've been around the block, as it were, half a dozen times, you're an experienced piecer and quilter, you could just join us for the fun, answer some of the other group members' questions. That would be great. So that's Patches and Pieces Monday. And since it's Monday, here I am. So today I thought we would talk about how we set a block that's on point, how we square it off using setting triangles. And let me just go ahead and change the camera over here. You can see an example. I've got several of them here. You can see an example of what I'm talking about. So here's my block, my sample for us. You can see I took this lovely Tula Pink print. I think this was the De La Luna sisters. I love this. I just love this portrait fabric of hers. Gorgeous. And then this is one of her basics that I put around it. But you can see, if I flip it over, you can see that when I fussy cut, now I fussy cut this in a hurry, and I can tell right now it wasn't, yeah, it was lined up pretty good. That when I fussy cut this, I fussy cut her on point. So instead of being square, right, she's on point. But when I turn it back over, what you notice when something's on point, how do I get the overall piece into a square? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Alrighty, so I'm going to set this one aside for a second. Now, recently, I took a class from a friend. You can always look her stuff up on Facebook as well. Her name is Susie, and her Facebook page is Sew with Susie. She has some great project classes and all as well. She's over in the UK. Here in this block, this was part of a class I just did with Susie called the Snail Trail. And mine's not complete yet. I've got 10 more blocks I've got to get made. But this is what this block looks like. And because of how I use my fabric, you can't really tell that the centerpiece is actually on point. So you can see it on point there because I used a little paper tape to block it off. So you can see it there. So in that class, we did this same idea of setting things on with these setting triangles to square this off into a full-size block. Now, there is one way to make the center of your quilt block look like it's on point. And we see that here in this block, this star block. And how we did that is we did 4 half-square triangles, and we set them so that the 4 center pieces all were the same matching color. And it looks like we have a block on point and set with the setting triangles. So that's an easy way to do this. I'll tell you why I like blocks like this, and even for a block like this, which technically is complete as it is. But these blocks are really nice because right here in the center, That's a great little place to put a piece of applique or to do a little machine embroidery in there. I love to do quilt blocks this way. And in the example that I'm going to make with you today, I'll show you, you'll see that as well. So in this big one, if you want to set a block on point, the easy way to do it, 4 half square triangles that are the same, set them with all the same color coming into the middle and matching. Easy peasy, right? But let's go back to our little De La Luna sister here. How did we do this, right? So we have her cut out. She was fussy cut. She measured 6.5 inches. How did I get these triangles cut? Well, those of you that know me know that I don't like when I have to deal with a biased edge, because if it stretches or it can cause problems, it can get your whole piece kind of cattywampus. So we don't want to have to deal with biased edging. So see here how this well, here, I'll just do this. See how that's really stretchy? Because this center is all on the bias, and these are all on the straight of grain. Okay, so let me move my little De La Luna sister out of the way and bring in my block here. So on this sample that I'm going to do with you, this is a 5-inch square that I cut out of some fabric that I had. And then I need 2 other 5-inch squares, and those are going to be my setting triangles. And I chose this print. Now you may say, why didn't you choose the print for the center so you can see all that lovely print in the center? Because when I do this, I would rather have, if I can get them apart, I'd rather have my print out here squaring things up. And on this fabric, for me, it takes the idea of being able to put an applique there. I'm not really covering up. See, I'm not covering up the bathing suit or the sunglasses or the little bag. I've got more of a blank canvas, you could say, on a print like this, or you could use a solid block here as well. So we've got our 5-inch block, and we have 2 other 5-inch blocks that match. Those should match because they're going to be our triangles. So what we want to do, let me just snip a little frayed string off. I'm going to take these and I'm going to stack them right up. They're all nice and stacked. Now I'm going to turn them on point. Just like that. And I'm going to take my quilting ruler and I'm going to lay it from point across the diagonal from point to point. I'm going to put on my I have these little magnifiers to help me see, to make sure I get things lined up. So I'm at that point, and I'm at this point down here. And I'm going to take my rotary cutter and slice those 2 right in half across the diagonal. Pull them apart, and I have 4 triangles. Now, what I'm going to tell you right now is be a little careful with these. These outer edges, these are fine, but this center is completely on the bias now. So don't go around pulling on it a lot. But we put it in the center like that because we're going to instantly get that taken care of by sewing it to the edge of our block here. I'm going to adjust my camera here just a little bit so I can bring this down here a little bit closer to me. So what I want to do is I want to take 2 of my triangles and I'm going to match the point up on one of the lines here. And then I'm going to take the other one. Let me scoot him up a little bit. And I'm going to take the second one and line up the point on one of the lines. And then again, I'm going to take my quilting ruler and line it up on the line that those points match on. And then I'm going to take a regular number 2 pencil. You could take, if your fabric's dark, you could use a chalk pencil. You could use a heat erasable pencil, an air erasable pen, whatever you like. This is going to be on the back side, and I'm going to make just a really light line straight down the center of both of those triangles. I will do that again on these two, but we'll hold off on that for a second. Now, I'm going to bring in my block, and I know that it is 5 inches square, so I'm going to come in 2.5 inches right to the center of it. Make sure it's lined up. And I'm going to get within the 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'm not going to do a whole line here, but within this 1/4 inch seam allowance, I'm going to give myself a little tick there and a little tick there. Now you may have learned, and you may see where people do that by folding these together and pressing and lining up. I don't like to do pressing in my squares if I don't have to. So these little lines help me line up. That's why I'm doing it this way. So now I'm going to take this little line and line it up with that little tick. Easy peasy, right? Right there on the edge. No problem. Got myself a couple of little mini Wonder Clips here. I love those. And I'm just clipped it on right there at that point. Now I'm just going to turn my whole piece over. I'm going to take the second one that I marked and line this line up with that tick. And look at there. My lines pretty much match right up. Get everything lined up there. Yeah. And they line right up. So when I see my line is lined up like this, then I know that everything is nice and square there. And I'm going to clip it. Now I'm going to take this whole piece over to my sewing machine, and we're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam from here to here, and then from here to here. So let me flip the camera over. There's the sewing machine. Now I'm going to tell you about the 5 inch block, why it's a 5 inch block here in a minute, because I know you're all going, oh, that block, that's too big. I know. And I'm going to tell you why I did it that way. So I'm all set up. I'm sewing a 1/4 inch. And turn it around. Line it up on this side. Get my clip out of there. Okay. So I have those two set. Let me just trim my little threads. Sometimes I don't see them and I forget to clip them, and then at the end it's like all of a sudden they come out of hiding, and I have to go in when I'm practically done with my piece and clip them then. So I try to make sure I find them. All right, so I am going to come back over to the main. Camera over here. I'm going to bring up my pressing mat. So this top one, let me grab my little iron. So I'm going to quick set my seams on both sides. There, my seams are set. Now I'm going to take this one that's on top and I'm going to flip it over. Ooh, that's hot. This little iron just gets things so burning hot. All right, now I'm going to flip this around and I'm going to flip this one up. And yeah, you lose a little bit of your pattern here and there, but overall you still see the pattern within it. So I'm totally cool with that. Get our mat out of the way. So now, oh my goodness, Diana, look how much too big that square is. You could have made your setting triangle smaller. There's a formula. You can do that. You are absolutely right. There's a formula. See, I've got it all written down here, but I'm not going to tell you what it is because I know a lot of folks don't want to have to deal with the math. And it's really easy once you get your triangles set to come in here. It's not that much waste. And snip off what I call these basset hound dog ears. They're really big dog ears, so I call them basset hound dog ears. Because bassets, if you know basset hounds, they have huge huge ears. And I'm just going to go ahead and need to just trim up a little bit there. Alrighty, that side completely done. Flip it over. Do a little better job of lining it up this time. I'll have to make the one cut. There we go. Get my big old jumbo dog ears off. And look, now everything is all nice and even, right? And there's a whole idea out there in patchwork, and I haven't always done it. And I've been quilting for 50 plus years, and I'm getting closer to the 55 plus year mark, and I just say 50 plus now. We don't want to be that specific anymore. It really ages me. There's this idea where you can make your piece larger and then trim it down. I love that idea because that kind of takes away this whole need for all of the math, right? You could even do that with half square triangles. Make them a little bit bigger and trim them down. It also helps you to have a perfect size every time. When you trim them down to your perfect ending size, it works every time. You don't have to worry, oh, this was 7/8 and 2 hairs and I didn't get it quite right. And no, just make them a little bit bigger and trim them down. So now we have half of it done. And now we have our other 2 triangles. So let's do the same thing with them that we did with our first 2. Line up the points on a line on our mat. And take our templates and put it down. And take our marking tool and just mark down the back side. Now, we have to do a new measure because we now have seam allowances on our block. So this is no longer exactly 5 here, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4.5 now. So 4.5 is going to give us 4.5. 2 and 2 is 4.5. So 2¼ inches over should give us our middle line. And do up here in my seam allowance, do a little tick there and a little tick there. And then once again, I'm going to take get myself a couple little clips, and I'm going to line up this line and that tick mark. And clip it. And I'm going to snip that little bit of thread there that was fraying. And I'm going to take my last one and line up this line with this tick mark. And look, there I've got my straight line all the way across. Very cool. Now, I'm going to go over to the sewing machine again, and we're going to start up here, 1/4 inch all the way down, 1/4 inch all the way down. Let's go over to the sewing machine. Okay. Now, I am using my walking foot, and I know on my walking foot that this little dip here, this groove right here at this edge, that's my 1/4 inch mark on this foot. So I know that. You may not have a walking foot, that's fine. I will show you, just out of point of interest, my favorite 1/4 inch foot. There's a couple of things in here. So that is my favorite 1/4 inch foot right there. And typically that's what I use to piece with. I just happen to have my walking foot on right now. I didn't feel like taking it off. You may have a foot that looks like this on your sewing machine, kind of your standard presser foot. So you need to make sure that you know how to line up with either your foot or the bed of your quilt or the bed of your sewing machine, the plate here, whatever helps you. If you have that, I know some people use pieces of tape to mark their 1/4 inch, whatever you need to do to mark so that you're getting that good, accurate 1/4 inch every time you sew. So I'm lined up and I'm just going down and sewing my first triangle on. Now, if you're new to quilting and you have a little bit of trouble getting that 1/4 inch every time, practice being accurate with your seam, whether it's a 1/4 inch or not, knowing that if it's not a 1/4 inch, your piece is either going to be a little bigger or a little smaller. You want to try and get to the point where your 1/4 inch is accurate all the time. But if you're new, the idea is to have fun. It's a learning experience, and no one is going to judge you. And if they do judge you, they shouldn't, because quilting is, although I call it an art of precision, it's also an art of fun. We quilt for fun. So let me flip. Don't we quilt for fun? I do. And so nobody should be judging you. If your seam is off a tiny bit, try to practice getting it to that good 1/4 inch, because that is important, very important. In quilting, that 1/4 inch is your standard. But don't beat yourself up. Don't let others beat you up. Know that your piece might be, like I said, a little smaller, a little bigger, but you'll learn, and the next time you'll be better, and the next time you'll be better, and the time after that, everything will go wonky again, and you'll start all over. That's the way it always is for me. So just don't judge yourself. Don't let other people judge you. Just have fun with your process. So I'm going to bring my ironing mat up here again and put my camera back over. So as you can see, we're set here again to flip our triangles and press them. Let me get my mini iron. Set my seams. Okay. Now, this top one, I'm going to flip it open. I'm going to give it a good press. I'm going to flip this one over and give it a good press. I always press from the top or the front first. That keeps me from getting little pleats, and that's hot, little pleats and things along my seam line. And after I do it all, then I'll turn to the back and I'll give a good, nice, solid press down all of my seams there. Alrighty, let me get rid of my pressing mat again. Now, there we go. We have a square, and our center square is on point. I'm going to do a little trim up here now. Get everything nice and squared up. You can use a squaring ruler if you have one. I have several sizes and I like them, but since I'm not looking for this to be a particular size or anything, I'm just getting rid of some of my excess on the edges and getting rid of the little dog ear that's left. If I were putting this into a quilt and making it an exact size for each block, I would certainly get out my square up rulers and square them up really precisely. So here we go. Oh, isn't that cute? And it's got all the little beach wear around it, little swimsuits and little beach bags and all these cute little sunglasses. I love them. But my square in the center is on points now, so that when it goes into, when I sew all my squares and sashing whatever I would do with this, this is a great canvas, a great blank canvas for you to put a little applique in here. Maybe you have a little pair of sunglass applique and you want to put it in there. That would be stinking cute. Or you have a little bag, a little beach bag applique in there, a little swimsuit applique in there. That would be darling for a little quilt. And that would be something, well, you could take it to the beach. I won't tell you not to take a quilt to the beach. I have been known to do just that thing. So anyway, that is setting a square on point and within a larger square. So let's bring back in our lovely De La Luna sister. There she is. That's exactly how we did her. I did these two first and then these two. Just like that. And although we can't see it like we can here, that's how that one is done. And then this was our exception, but the same idea where we used 4 half square triangles. So move that over. Let me flip the camera. Now, normally when I do this, sorry, my cameras have to flip in sequence. And sometimes it takes it a couple seconds to catch up. So normally this is always done live, but these videos will start being posted here on YouTube as well. So you are welcome to just watch it here on YouTube whenever you want, or you're welcome to join me on my Facebook group, Heartfelt Creative with Diana, live every Monday at 1 p.m. Central Time in the US, which is 7 p.m. in the UK, because I know I have a lot of friends who come and join me from the UK. So it's evening there when it's afternoon here. So I hope you enjoyed that. This was a simple block. We've done more intricate things before in Patches and Pieces. If you're interested in seeing some of our back Patches and Pieces videos, head over to that Facebook page, Heartfelt Creative with Diana. Go into the video tab and you can see. And they'll be titled Patches and Pieces Monday and What I Did. Because there'll be all the videos will be in there, and some of them are announcements and other group things. But if you want to specifically see the Patches and Pieces ones, just look for the ones that are titled Patches and Pieces Monday, and it'll tell you what we made. Like I've done a bear claw 1 week. Oh golly, we've just done a lot of them. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have fun. If you make one and you want to share it, I do have a Facebook group. It's a group just for sharing pictures. There's no selling, no advertising, no snarkiness. People just come and enjoy themselves and post all their sewing projects on there. You can get support that way. Show off what you just did, because we should show off what we did. We work hard on these projects. And that is called Sew in Common, SEW in Common. And you're welcome to come over there and join in that fun whenever you like. Come and go as you please. There's typically never like I never do an event or anything in that group. It's strictly just to post your stuff and have fun and ask questions and meet new people and that sort of thing. Okay, hope everyone enjoyed watching the video today. Thank you so much for joining me. I know that you all have lots of places where you can go to spend your time and watch videos regarding quilting and sewing. So it is a pleasure and an honor for me to have you with me during this hour every Monday. Take care. Go sew the world beautiful. We'll see you soon. Bye now.